If you could pick one thing to learn more about in the collision industry, what would it be? Well, if you said glue pulling, then today's episode is for you. And if you didn't say glue pulling, you should hear it anyway. We have Danny Hacker on today's episode, and he's talking about a lot of misconceptions of glue pulling, the benefits. Honestly, glue pulling isn't going anywhere, you guys. And why is it that some of the biggest EV manufacturers are pushing glue pulling? Got to give you some food for thought. Anyway, stay tuned. Danny shares some really great information with us today. I know that you are going to love it. And if you have a topic with something that you would love for me to have a guest on and talk about, make sure you reach out. Email me, message me, get a hold of me. I'm here for you, folks. Stay tuned. Danny's good.
Welcome to Body Bangin', your podcast for all things body. Auto body, that is. And now, introducing Body Bangin's host, Mickey Woods of Mickey Woods Marketing. Mickey is a former auto collision center owner and is now a marketing and business development expert to shops across the globe.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back to today's episode of the Body Bangin' Podcast. I just want to let you guys know I am so appreciative of you. Our episodes get so many downloads now. It's insane. We're talking like high hundreds, thousand per episode, which couldn't be done if it wasn't for my loyal, amazing listeners out there. So thank you guys so much. And if you're listening, make sure that you are subscribed so you can and get notified on YouTube. Make sure you click the little bell button so you get notified when a new episode goes live. And you can follow us on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, whatever's your jam. Follow us there. Us, meaning me and my wonderful guest, like the guest I have on today. Hello, Danny Hacker.
How you doing?
Good.
Me.
Yeah. I'm
you.
excited to have you on. So quick little bit about Danny. The reason why I wanted to have Danny on today is because I feel like something that he is a professional at is glue pulling. And he's been in the industry for over 20 something years, is a part owner in a body shop. A lot of you guys know Danny, but did you know that? I don't know. Right?
Many may not. Who knows?
Yeah.
Right.
He also works for KECO and he does a lot of trainings in glue pulling. And I have a lot of shops that are, I don't even know what the proper word is, misinformed maybe on glue pulling.
More than likely.
A lot of questions revolving glue pulling. Some people say like it doesn't work. So then it's like, is it not working? Is it just you haven't been trained properly? So wanted to have Danny on today to talk about some of these big questions that a lot of you guys are asking. Obviously, want to provide you guys value, and this is something that comes up a lot. I've been reached out to asking to touch on this. So, Danny, where should we begin?
Well, one of the first and most primary misconceptions would be GPR is not PDR, right? Mm-hmm. So we're going to be doing what we've always been doing, getting the damage as close as possible, where we can come in with our filler and do a light skim coat. Right. Another thing guys run into that's a big hiccup is what we would call in GPR is surface area. More surface area, stronger the pull. Because you got to think with stud pulling, it's minimal contact points, right?
Right.
They're already coming in with, I'm going to grab the smallest tab, stick it right in the center of that big dent and try to pull it.
Yeah.
That's not the case with GPR. You need a tab with larger surface area. So you need to start with a bigger tab first, get the majority of that metal moving, like we like to call metal flow, creating metal flow, right? And instead of going in there and just attacking with these minimum contact points. And every time we pull with like a stud puller, and I'm not anti-stud pulling at all, okay?
Right.
But you got to understand when you pull with that stud puller, you're pulling sharp little points like this all over the panel.
Right.
So glue pull, we want to put somewhat of a larger tab on there, get the majority of that metal moving, and then move down in tab selection as the dent gets smaller. So if you're starting, and that's one of the hiccups guys have when they first get their system, and that's why we put tons of content out there.
Yeah.
So when you get your system, don't, if you got a dent this big, don't start with a small tab right there in the center, because I know
Right.
that's what we're used to, small contact point.
Yes. Yes.
We need to get a tab with some more surface area so we can get that metal moving.
Yeah.
Then once it starts coming out, then go down into them smaller tabs.
Yeah.
So, and that's just one of the little learning curves.
Right.
Yeah, just one of the learning curves.
Well, and I think that's the key. And I even wrote that on my notes when I first talked with you, Danny, and I circled it, learning curve. This is one of those things, just like everything that we've learned to do in the industry, there is a learning curve to it. And just because it doesn't work for you, glue pulling right out of the gate, doesn't mean it doesn't work. Potentially, this could be user error.
I'm 100%, 100%. And that's why we, formulated this 6C process of prepping it. Everything in life is prep. If we get ready to go out at night, if we don't prep right, we ain't gonna look good.
Right.
If we, have a car getting ready for paint and we're sanding blend panels with 320, guess what? All them scratches are gonna show. Everything in life is about prep, even with glue pull. If you prep the panel right, you're gonna get consistent results every single time. And every time somebody calls, I can fix their issue with that 6C process of prepping the panel.
Wow.
And that's part of it. Now, and all that information's all over the internet. And me too, I'm a stubborn body guy. So, I'm not gonna, I don't even read the directions when my wife buys something from IKEA. I'm just putting it together. Right. So if we take the time to get out there on the internet, check out some of the material that's out there, you're going to find the answers too as well. And you can always reach out to us. 100% always reach out to us if need be.
Yeah.
But it's all about the prep process, making sure your panel's clean, making sure your temperatures are right, making sure we chose a tab with enough surface area to get that metal moving, right? And making sure we're pulling in that right temp range as well.
Right.
And it's easy, but it's that learning curve.
Yeah.
Just like anything in life. Like I didn't pick up a welder and I was welding dimes right off the bat. It took some practice understanding the settings on the welder and stuff like that. So
you made a good point that GPR, glue pulling repair, I assume that stands for, is not the same as PDR, paintless dent repair, for people that are listening. And I think it can be confused that they are the same or very similar, and maybe similar to some degree because it's a type of repair. But
So PDR uses the same tools, but typically when they get it to super flat, they go to their push tools. Okay. And then they start pushing out that minute imperfection. We go to our filler work. And it's not that it's a bad, it's just what we get paid to do. It's not ergonomical for us to take, work on a 6-hour repair and spend that full 6 hours. That's not how that works. It's we like to, instead of hours, we like to call it labor units. Because I know some people kind of, takes you 6 hours, it should take you 6 hours. Well, you can't penalize the guy for being super efficient at his job and getting it done quicker. You can't penalize that guy.
Yeah.
So, but and what I'm saying is, that's just a different industry. Somewhat same tools, but we all have a different end goal, right? But
And one thing I found really interesting is glue pulling has been around for a long time. You actually shared with me it's been around for like about 20 years. 20
some years. Yep.
Yeah. And for me, I started hearing all about it during the pandemic because people couldn't get parts. So they were forced to repair things that they might have typically replaced. I had no idea that the roots of it went back so far, which is really interesting. And I think we're so much more advanced with what we do now.
Yes, it's a lot of engineering went into it. So when I first bought my glue or any kind of glue pull tabs, it was probably like 23, 24 years ago. It was a Worth set. And I bought into it, but nobody had a process. Nobody told you about cleaning the panel, how to warm your panel to get rid of any kind of humidity and moisture in it. Because if we don't warm that panel, and we put that hot glue on that panel, it's going to draw out that humidity and moisture and put like a water vapor in between the glue and the panel. And that's why you get that failed pull. You have to get rid of the humidity and moisture. But when I bought that, there was no information whatsoever about it. And I put it in the corner. It didn't work.
Yeah. So, put baby in the corner.
Yeah.
And now it's interesting because we have the EVs that have become super popular. So now we've got all of the issues that go with that. And why don't you talk a little bit about glue pulling and EVs and if it's good to use and what makes it so?
It's actually the best tool to use for electronic vehicles, right?
Mhm.
So we all know, and a lot of stress comes into just powering them down, right?
True.
With glue pull repair, you're not adding any current to that panel. You're not welding anything to that panel, right? So you can go ahead and start glue pulling on it without unplugging anything
Right.
for the most part until you get
Right.
into some more technical stuff. But you
Right.
can move some of them minor damages out without even disconnecting anything, which is huge, especially in some shops that are kind of like, I don't want to power it down. But now for some shops that ain't too technical into that, which, all shops need to get around that curve,
Right.
right? They can fix, some minor damages with EVs without
Yeah.
having to power anything down, right?
Right.
Uh, so that's huge. And a lot of like Rivians and stuff like that, they're really leaning more towards glue ball repair. So
Mm,
it's still it's fairly new in the industry. It's taken off. Like last year was huge,
I
but
bet.
we've got together with a lot of OEs, EV manufacturers.
Oh,
They're
okay.
like, hey, this is what we want to use to repair damage on our vehicles. You
Mm,
know, because corrosion issues and stuff like that. Because with glue pull repair, it preserves the E coat not only on the back side but also the front side.
okay.
Because with a lot of the new fillers today, you don't have to go to bare metal, right?
Mm,
You can
right.
get it super flat with glue pull repair and hit it with some 180 and then put your skim coat right over that. So you can
Yeah.
preserve the E coat on the front side and the back side, which is
Nice.
huge, which is huge. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and then we run into the issue that I'm sure a lot of shops ask you about, which I hear shops talking about is billing when it comes to billing.
Yes.
And you kind of touched
Yes.
on it a little bit ago, but why don't you talk on that?
So with billing, now I will say this, a lot of times it's quick, fast, get that big moves. Sometimes if you're working on a big complex repair,
Hmm.
and glue pull by nature is a better repair. It's
Mm,
100% non-invasive, better repair.
right.
We take that Hippocratic oath, do no more harm or do
Right.
no harm. Like, yeah.
Right.
So we're already going to start repairing this without burning anything, running the risk of pulling holes. So
Yeah.
I tell shops all the time, you need to not think of it as a faster repair, but as a better repair and actually add some more time because it's taken more focus on that repair to get it
Mm,
back to its original position. You're
right.
not grinding paint, you're not causing any harm. So add some more hours for that
Yeah.
because it's a better repair. You shouldn't get penalized for doing a better repair. You should get paid more for doing a better repair, right?
Right. So,
So
what do you feel like? Because this is always the question.
yes,
How do insurance companies view glue pulling? Do you know?
uh, they're kind of might be a little ignorant to it. They
Mhm.
might think, oh, it's just you just glue a tab on there and the dent magically pops out.
Mhm.
It's not the case. So we're going to
Mhm.
be using that clear coat, finding all the crowns around it and correcting that. And another huge thing is when we get to our filler work, before we'd grind the paint off and we're going all by fill. Now we're
Mhm.
going by sight with the clear coat. So we
Right.
can catch all those high spots up front when we go do our filler work. So when we go to sand that, no more high spots revealed. So
Mm.
the more traditional way,
Yeah.
you would stud pull it out. You put your filler coat on there, sand it. A bunch of highs would reveal themselves, right?
Right.
Reveal itself, and you would
Right.
knock those down, put another coat, sand
Right.
it, and be like, oh man, there's another high spot. Knock that down, put another coat,
Right.
right? So it's a better repair, and it's one of the things. And you know, talking to everybody in the industry, you got to stand your ground. You got to
Yeah.
know what's right, and you got to be like,
Right.
"Hey, I'm doing the right thing by
Right.
this car." All
Right.
right. So, I mean, it's just billing to your skill set, really. I mean, if you got a
Yeah.
guy who's trying to do a better repair, and listen, if it's a complex dent, they might put a little more time into it to get it really nice, where they can
Yeah.
just put a coat of, a little thin coat of filler on it instead of multiple coats.
Right.
So,
Right.
and then
Well,
you
and I
ain't
think
burning the backside.
And I think the key too, with everything that we are going through right now with the battle with insurance companies getting paid on what we do, a lot of it comes to, are you educated on what you're doing and why?
Yeah.
And I think
Hmm.
working with somebody like you or whoever they're working with to have your people educated on what you're doing so then you can go explain it Like you said,
Yeah.
there's ignorance on all sides. It's not like this is
There
like
is.
insurance
I
company
know,
bashing, like they're
100%.
idiots. Like
No,
it's
all
across the
sides.
board. Yeah.
It is. It is. It's a lot of people that are intimidated. And I understand as someone owned a shop, I get that feeling like you have to cater to them, or else hey, they're going to close my doors. But
Yeah.
what I found out, even in our own shop, when you make that customer connection, like, hey, come out here and check out how I'm going to fix your dent. Before I'd be like, I'm not going to show you because I have it all ground off. I got a bunch of studs all over it, whatnot. But now I'm like, hey, come check out. Look at the method I'm using to repair your vehicle. We're putting, some really nice repairs on your vehicle, and it's just a better repair. It's frustrating sometimes when guys are just roll over, shops just roll over. Because I mean, they're in a position now more than ever to get paid for what they do.
Yeah.
I mean, more than ever. I mean, now's the time for shops to be like, stand our ground. If we're doing, legit, right? Legit repairs.
Right.
Let's get compensated for that.
I'm going to interrupt this podcast for just one quick second because a lot of people wonder, Mickey, what is it that you even do besides host a podcast? Well, I do marketing, and really the biggest thing that I do is help you drive more traffic to your business. And not even just more traffic, but consistent traffic to your business. As a former shop owner, I know how important that is. So if that's something you're interested in, or you just want to talk about marketing or developing your business in general, feel free to reach out. You can visit collisioncentermarketing.com. There's a calendar on there, and you can just book a time that works for you, and we'll set up a phone call. Or you can email or call me, and my notes are down in the description of this episode. But I hope to hear from you. I'd love to help you build your business. But in the meantime, you better get back to this podcast because it's really good. Yeah. So I feel like I'm going to ask this question on behalf of the shop owners out there that are not using glue pulling. What would be the benefit? Because and I guess the first question is, we didn't go over these questions, so good luck to you. No.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine.
When we're talking about the cost investment to get the glue pulling equipment and training, what are we looking at? I guess let's start there.
All right. So if you wanted to buy what we'd say our Cadillac system, our biggest system, the best system, the one that I always push is right at $5,000.
Okay.
All right.
That's not bad.
And it's not bad considering it does all the substrates.
Right.
So you don't have to get, a steel glue pull system or aluminum glue pull system. No, it does all the substrates.
Right.
And another thing is we're working with clear coat, so we're not cross contaminated. So I mean, you're working with clear coat. You're not breaking the paint until you get ready to the filler work, which by then, you done moved your system out the way.
Yeah. Right.
If you wanted to get training, you can buy the L2E with training for I think it's right at $7,500.
Okay.
We fly into your shop and train you all for a day.
So this is the best of the best package.
That's the best of the best. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And we have everything in between.
Right.
Too. But one of the problems that I see when guys get frustrated, if they buy maybe just a small kit or a couple pieces here, it's limited to what you can do because you only bought one aspect of that system.
Right.
If you have the full system, it's when guys are like, man, I'm going to take this as far as I can go. Right. So
then if they were trying to decide, should I move forward? Because if I'm the type where I'm like all in or all out, that's just
me too.
That's how
my
I roll.
nature.
We're either going to do this or we're not.
Yep.
So, all right. I think I'm all in. It sounds really good. But conversely, playing devil's advocate, you tell me, what is the benefit of having the system versus doing it the way that we've done it? I mean, you've talked about a lot of benefits, but if we're talking financially, what are the benefits of having the system at my shop?
The benefits on it, as me as a collision tech, not as some corporate guy, but just as a straight collision tech, it has made my metal work so much better.
Okay, so
quality. Now I can quality. I mean, and not only that, I'm fixing stuff that I thought, God, I'm going to put a ton of filler on that.
Yeah.
Now I'm being able to catch them crowns up front. I'm being able to understand how metal flow is,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because that's like a big thing that I learned. I'm 21 years in collision history, guys are throwing around metal flow. I'm like, what are you talking about? You just bang it out like a caveman.
Yeah.
But now I'm like using finesse and I'm actually watching that metal move because I'm using that clear coat and I'm not being so aggressive. And metal
Mm-hmm.
wants to move. We just got to show it its way.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing is you know, a lot of stuff, when you got a big dent like this
Mm-hmm.
and you shrink it down, now my filler work has shrunk a little bit. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm not, having to coat like whole panels and stuff like that. And it comes at times where, I like to think, the least amount that I have to get into that vehicle is the best for the vehicle. Right. And
Yeah,
I'm not meaning if
totally.
something's crushed,
Right. Of course.
fix it. Right. I mean,
Right.
it's still in the guidelines, but I like to think if I can save from having to cut something off, dude, all day, every day. If I can save from having to rip out the interior to get back into the cavity wax, because with
Mm-hmm.
stud pulling, I got to take apart the whole interior just to get in there and re-e-coat it and all that good stuff. So that right there is going to save me some time, right?
Right.
Because we're not burning anything, so we're not
Right.
causing any kind of fires, especially on like Chryslers and stuff like that. Got
Mm.
all that foam in the dog legs, it
Yeah.
catches on fire. And listen, I've done it. And if a lot of body guys out there want to be honest, they'll be like
Yeah.
right there with you, man.
Right.
I've
Right.
caught that foam on fire, and it eliminates all that.
Mm.
Eliminates tons of liability issues, right? So if we're stud pulling, even
Yeah.
if it's on a repairable dent, and we don't get
Mhm.
e-coat back there, or we don't get cavity wax, so we miss the spot, you got somebody like Billy Willem.
Yeah.
I still struggle.
Walkoviak.
Wakoviak
Yes.
inspecting your vehicle with a scope, and he sees, hey man, you missed some e-coat back there, right?
Mm.
That's another way as
Mm.
well. You're not burning anything.
So are you
So
using less consumables doing glue pulling, or is it
you're using
different
consumables.
consumables? Okay.
It's different consumables.
Okay.
So your consumables are going to be your glue sticks,
Okay.
isopropyl alcohols,
Mm-hmm.
or alcohol, microfiber rags,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's going to be. So one of the things that I love about KECO, right, is that we warranty all of our lifters and all of our larger tabs. To
Okay.
warranty them, you don't have lifetime warranty. But then smaller dead centers, now one right here. This is going to be considered a consumable as well. Just them smaller, real
Okay.
precise tabs.
Right.
So basically, glue, alcohol, smaller consumable tabs, and microfiber rags.
Okay.
That's going to be your consumables, and bill it. 100% bill that. If you break
Right.
one of those consumables, take a picture, document it, bill it.
Okay.
Right. I know of some shops that do a straight. I think it's like, I want to be wrong, but I think it's like $65 just miscellaneous line for glue pull repair.
Okay.
And that's just going to cover, breakage,
Mm-hmm.
glues, isopropyl, and microfibers. So it's going to be a miscellaneous line for
Mhm.
GPR on each estimate if they go to do glue pull repair. So
Now, time-wise, it sounds as if this glue pulling could be potentially, for a lot of jobs, it takes less time. Is
yes,
that accurate? Okay.
yes, yeah, for the most. But you do run into some of them complex ones that
Right.
might take you a little bit more. So it's hit or
Right.
miss. It's even like with stud pulling. I mean, if it's a big smash, you're gonna have a heck of a hard time getting all that metal to move with
Right.
studs as opposed to glue pull with surface area. It moves a
Mhm.
lot. So it's just
So my thinking is, for a shop owner who's considering it, there's a lot of positives about it. And for me, being a former shop
100%.
owner, a quality repair, if my guys are able to do a quality repair even faster, especially because I'm right
Yeah.
now loaded with cars,
Yes.
okay, that's a win.
Yes.
As long as I'm not losing money, because that would be the concern. I don't want to lose money on this thing. As long as I can bill appropriately, like you said, bill for doing something better and more quickly. Just because you get it done
Yeah.
more quickly doesn't mean you should be making less money. And I think that's a
Exactly.
misconception.
That's a misconception.
Yeah.
100%. Another thing, guys, kind of, disconnect with is if I'm spending some time glue pulling, when I get to my filler work, it's one coat.
Mm,
I'm one and done because I'm using that light. I can see all my highs. So when I'm ready to fill, I'm one coat and done. So it speeds that up 100%.
right.
That's so much faster. Like all my repairs, like I've done some. We got some videos coming out where it's one coat done. I don't have to do
Wow.
a second coat.
Nice.
I mean, that's huge. And a lot of guys forget about that aspect. They're just focused on the damage coming out, but not
Yes.
focusing on the finishing work,
Right.
right? With the
Right.
filler.
Yeah.
So in a hole, get 100% faster. 100%.
Well, it's
100%.
interesting because I've seen some glue when I started hearing so much more about glue pulling, I started watching some videos on it. It's really incredible. For
Yeah.
those of you who haven't seen it, I'm sure KECO has videos. There's other glue pulling systems out there. They have videos. I recommend you guys check out. I'll put a link to some of the videos you've done, Danny, in the description and the notes, because it is really cool. It's
It
like,
is.
you
It
would
is.
never think, for somebody that has no experience, no awareness of this, it's really incredible what you can do with the tools and how the metal moves. And you become, it's like, it reminded me when I first started watching it, like a mad scientist, like we're going to heat this up and we're going to apply this here. And then this starts to shift. And then you see like the before and after, and it's like incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible.
I mean, it is. It is. It's fascinating, and it's not going nowhere. And that's what I tell people who are on the fence. I'm like, you have to. It's not going nowhere now. It's so entrenched into the industry now. Even OEMs are looking at it. It's here to stay, and it gradually keeps getting better, 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 better. I mean, it's not going nowhere. I remember when I first started, I was drilling holes to fix dents. Right? Drilling up. It looked like birdshot went off in the panel, but that's how we did it. That's how we did it. And we get our, little screw and bang it all out. Then stud pulling came. And even then, I'll be honest, I was like, yeah, I'm used to drilling holes. I keep drilling holes. And then I tried a stud pull and I was like, yeah, this is way better. I'm not pulling as many holes now. Hey, it's great. And then glue pulls now coming on the scene, and it's that transition. Guys are still like, I'm used to this. But once they start doing it, like guys send me pictures on Facebook, and it's amazing. Like in my messenger, I get pictures all the time from like, hey, look what I repaired. And they're getting really, really, really efficient. Scary.
Wow.
They're kind of getting scary. Like, oh no, dude, you're going too far. Put some filler on that.
Yeah.
But they're getting good. They're getting good.
So now the equipment let's say they buy all of the equipment that they need, how much space does this take up inside of a tech bit? Does it need like a whole stall? What are we talking about here?
No. It's just basically like your roll around cart. Techs have all them little roll around carts. Yeah, it's basically that much room it's going to take up.
Okay.
Yeah. That's it.
All right. Because I'm thinking if it was like a full system that you had to set up and have a lot of square footage for, that could present a problem.
Nope.
Okay.
Same thing as like, I'd say, probably the same size as one of your spot welders.
Okay. Geez. Okay. Yeah.
Or even a stud welder, one of them kind of units like that, like a stud welder. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Huh. So I feel
easy.
like the biggest pushback right now to glue pulling is exactly what you said. People are used to doing what they do, the way they've done it. There's that comfort zone. And it's always intimidating to learn new things.
Yep.
And I think it's important to note, if you want to go down this road, to make sure that you purchase and get the training that goes along with it. Because if you're going to make the investment, learn how to do it properly. Have some support.
And honestly, we do like free Zooms with every purchase too. Now, we push a lot of training. We want guys to be trained, but a lot of that content is free online as well. So I don't tell guys, don't think of it as you have to have training. Training's great. If you have some stubborn guys in your shop, they're like, you got to be here to, make sure they do it. But a lot of the information is free online as well.
Okay.
To get you started, because most of these guys, they're professionals. They've been pulling dents for years.
Right.
And as long as we teach them that process and teach them surface area, right? Because that's one of the keys. If you start off with a tiny little tab, thinking small contact points is where you want to be. Yeah, you're going to get that felled pull. But if you teach them, hey, start off with a big tab on that large dent, get that metal moving, then move down into them smaller tabs, and they're like, oh, it starts clicking. So it starts clicking. Once they use it, it starts really clicking with them. So
I like that, especially as we're like looking around. I deal with so many shops on a regular basis, and there's so many frustrations that shop owners have with their own techs even. And then there's the uncertainty as the owner of, is this car being repaired properly? I hope these vehicles are being repaired properly, because at the end of the day, I am liable, the
Yes.
shop is liable.
Yeah.
So having a tool that helps them repair something at a higher level of quality, because we're
Yeah.
breaking down less of the vehicle, as a former shop owner, to me, that is really valuable.
It
Honestly.
is. It is. And listen, as somebody who took pride in what they did, because I've always posted my repairs and stuff like that. Even on my best day, cutting off a panel and tearing apart a car, messed up. I
Mhm.
mean, I didn't do the best. Like, there's some stuff where I'm like,
Right.
oh, kind of scraped that trim a little bit, or
Right.
I
Right.
kind of, like, I'm
Yeah.
human. I'm
Oh,
trying to
yeah. Yeah.
replicate what a machine did, right? So if I
Right.
can keep from being so invasive, oh man, do it if you can. But the same thing, like our whole motto is checking OEM procedures first. Like before we
Yeah.
start any repair, we want to make
Right.
sure we check them. So I don't
100%.
advocate for repairing ultra high strength steels and trying to pull all that stuff out. I mean, a lot of that stuff, if it's damaged, there's no way around it. You got to
Right.
replace that,
Right.
right? But if we're
Well, and
dealing with some yeah,
that led to my next question is, what doesn't it work on?
it will pull a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm one, and I go into a lot of shops where I'm just, I don't look around, see what anybody's doing, because I'm not, that's not my nature to be like, you're doing it wrong.
Right.
That's not, it's just not me. There's a lot of guys that they have that quality, and
Yeah.
kudos for them, right? Because we
Yeah.
need them too. We
Right.
need those guys to be like, you're doing it wrong. We need those guys.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm not that guy. But I do, when I go into trains, I say, hey, if it's like ultra high strength steel, make sure the OE says you can cold straighten it, or
Mhm.
if it's some boron, and there's a lot of different steels. Like there's advanced steels. There's all kinds of steels out there now,
Right.
and stay towards mild aluminum. Stay out of those ultra high strength steels, stuff like that. If you got a pull on that, you probably need to replace that stuff. I mean,
Right.
you
I
need
would
to. I'll
think.
be honest, you need to. I mean, if it's hit that
Yeah.
hard, even glue, and I tell guys too, if you have this huge smash that you're like, oh man, let's try to save it. I mean, if that dog leg's crushed in,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to get frustrated because it's not some magic system, right? I mean,
Right.
there's some stuff that probably don't. It's not a candidate, is what we would say for loophole.
Yeah.
But I mean, but stuff that's repairable
Mm-hmm.
all day long, all
Yeah.
day long. I mean, that's
Yeah.
going to be your go-to. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we're
So,
talking like common sense.
yeah, I know. I like,
Yeah.
but then
You would think, though. You would think.
you would think, you would
Yeah.
think, you would think, you would think. So, yeah, it's funny.
Well, this is such good information, and I really wanted to get the awareness out there for it.
Yeah.
Like I said, a lot of people have reached out to me because I'm always interested. And if you guys are listening right now and there's a topic you want to hear about, please email me, message me, whatever, because this is, the show's for you. So you let me know. And
Yeah.
I know there were shops
Yeah.
out there wanting to know more information about glue pulling. So Danny's contact information is in the notes, and clearly you can tell he's a super chill guy, would be more than happy to talk to you.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Yeah. Is there anything else you feel like we haven't touched on that you want to make sure that you have a chance to share?
The only thing is that guy's still on the fence.
Mhm.
The only thing, and honestly, just as a collision tech, listen, when KECO came around, the only reason I got into glue pull repair is I like the color blue. Right.
Oh,
And not only that, I mean, that's the reason I chose KECO, right?
Right.
Not knowing that it was the best system. I mean, I could say I'm being biased, but honestly, I didn't know
Right.
anybody at KECO.
Right.
Right. And then I caught a foam pillar on fire. Like it caught on fire, and I was like, dude, we can't fix these. What are we gonna do? Because it got all that foam of the dog leg and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I reached, I searched and I seen a post about glue pull repair, and I'm like, what is this? So I just winged it. And I bought the system. Yeah, I just bought the system. Like, I like blue. So I bought the system, right? And it was like the first one.
Yeah.
And I was getting crazy good results. But then I went and took the training, and I realized, there was some stuff that I wasn't doing right. And then I got even better results then.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
just as somebody who's moved his family across the country because he believes in this product
Yeah.
and believes in glue pull repair.
Right.
I mean, I'm telling you, it's where everybody needs to focus dent repair.
Yeah.
right? And I understand that not every dent's repairable, right? There's it's a big umbrella of what collision has to do, everything from airbags to ADAS to,
Right.
but in this sector of the repair process, glue pull. Glue pull's where it's at.
Yeah.
So I just tell guys who's on the fence, go ahead, just get you a system now, start glue pulling, and I promise you, and we offer 90-day money back guarantee. We try to make it as easy as possible for you to purchase this system.
Yeah.
And start glue pulling. You'll go and see results, and it's going to be the best investment for dent repair in your shop for sure.
How do you feel like the techs deal with it? Because oftentimes this is like an owner type decision. And sometimes the owners make decisions. They're like, guess what we're doing? And the techs are like, oh God. How do you feel like the techs take to it?
From my experience, when I go in to do most of these trainings, it's the techs that have been like, boss, we need this. Yeah. So
interesting.
I've been reaching more of the techs because the techs are on board. Guess what? The boss wants to make. It's not like there's people lining up at the door to say, hey, I want to come work for you.
Right.
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 So the techs are like, hey, we need this. Most of the time, the owner's on board 100%.
Yeah.
But it's when the owner, and some owners have, and it's turned out good, but when the owner just buys it and throws it at the techs, it's when the techs are like, what's this?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But from my experience, the techs, they're pretty much already on board. There's going to be at least 2 in every single shop, or at least 1. And he's going to be called what we call the champion of the shop for glue pull.
Yeah.
So when techs see him turning hours, making money, pulling some damage, limited filler, they're going to be like, hey, let me use this.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Good point.
Yeah.
Good point.
So
and I think a lot of it is simply like exposure, like awareness.
Yeah.
Like, this
awareness.
Look what I can do with it. Oh, wait a minute. Now that looks a lot more attractive than what I thought in my head it was going to be,
Yeah, 100%. And it's culture change. It's a change of how we've been doing it. We've been working with bare metal our whole life, the whole industry.
Right.
Now we're actually working with the clear coat and starting to read it with our eyes instead of our hands.
Yeah.
So that's a big change. And it's so much better. You start to realize that your hands have been lying to you. Big time.
Yeah.
But when you can see it, you're like, oh, okay. And one more thing before we end, for the guys out here that are glue pulling, keep in mind when you see those minute imperfections in the panel, don't beat yourself up and try to just keep pulling them tiny little imperfections. We're not doing PDR.
Right.
That's what filler's for.
Right.
We have never fixed those minor imperfections because I see guys all the time just keep trying to get it. And I'm not saying don't progress in your skill, but know when to stop.
Right.
That's why we have skim coats. That's why we fill it. So keep that in mind. You're using the clear coat. You're seeing a different view of that dent, and it's going to show every minute imperfection. It's going to magnify it 100 times with that light. So when it's flat, you're done. Go to your skim coat, be done.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Good point.
So,
I like that. Awesome. Yeah. Well, I'm excited for everybody to hear this. I know that there are a lot of shops out there that are going to have great takeaways from the conversation today. So thank you for for coming on the show with me.
Yeah. Anytime. I was real excited about this.
Good. That's what we want. Yeah. Excited people.
I was super nervous too. I was like walking around the shop, pacing back and forth. Oh man, what's she going to ask me?
It wasn't too bad, right?
No, it was good. Yeah. It was good.
Well, everybody, thank you guys for listening. Of course, thanks to Danny for coming on. Danny's information is in the show notes. I'll put a couple links to some videos if you guys want to check some stuff out too. And like I said, if you have other topics you want to hear about, hit me up and I'll do my best to find somebody great like a Danny to come on and talk about it. So until next time, see ya.
If you enjoyed today's show, make sure you hit the subscribe button. We have some incredible topics and guests coming your way you will not want to miss. If you are watching on YouTube and don't want to miss the latest and greatest, you'll want to hit the bell after subscribing, so you will get a pop-up each time a video podcast goes live. To our devoted fans, Would you mind paying it forward and sharing this little gem with someone else you think may benefit from it? Much love from all of us here at Body Bangin', all things auto body.